Mr. Mac, the physics teacher for AP Physics 1, AP Physics 2, and AP Physics C, and post-AP/capstone physics. Mr. Mac has been here for how many years?
About 10 years. About 10 years.
And he also runs the school's Physics Olympiad Club. Thank you for being here, Mr. Mac.
Sure.
So I have a few questions to ask you.
Yes.
The first question is, what inspired you to go into physics? Was it a special person or is it an event?
Isaac Asimov. So when I got out of high school, I worked, but I did do a little bit of reading, and there was an author named Isaac Asimov who was actually a scientist who later on in life wrote fiction, and he also wrote textbooks, different science textbooks, and he wrote a book that was called The Collapsing Universe, and it talked about stars and collapsing stars and black holes and things like this, and it captured my interest. I was probably already in my 20s when I read that. Yeah.
So you do like astronomy, that's similar topics?
I just started off, that's what captured my attention, and I was pretty much enthralled by it. But like I said, I was still in my 20s, so I still didn't have any college education. But at that point in time, so then I got a 3-book series written by Asimov that basically talked about the different disciplines of physics. So mechanics, electricity, magnetism, and modern physics. It was a 3-book series, I don't remember what it's called now. And so I read those. And then that went into more, these were like physics for poets type books. They weren't heavy in math, it was very conceptual. And Asimov is a good writer, so he can make things sound interesting. So then from the Collapsing Universe to those sets of books is what kind of sealed it up for me. But again, I didn't actually start studying until I was 30. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So as a physics teacher, what's your favorite concept that you teach every year or in certain class?
I like thermodynamics. I like it all, but I like thermodynamics, I think, the most. It's a really fun one for me to teach. Okay. Yeah, I enjoy that.
That's in Physics 2?
Yeah, in Physics 2, that's right, yeah.
And then you also teach Ethicals MA Physics Olympiad Club. Are there any memorable moments or funniest moments you've ever had in a physics class or Ethicals MA Club?
I've had a lot of them, and it is this. It's not necessarily the funniest. We've always had some good laughs, but some of the most memorable ones are not as necessarily in Ethicals MA, but in the classes when I have a kid who's struggling, and often most of the kids struggle, especially in honors physics, AP1 physics, but they keep trying, and then eventually they do really well. So when I grade those tests, I always just really get enjoyment out of that. And I have been known to go grade those tests and they come in on the following Monday and actually go find a kid, or even on a Friday if I grade it before I leave, go find a kid and pull them out of class and show them what they got on it. Because to me, it's just really fun to see the look on their face when they've been trying so hard and have had such a difficult time and they finally have some success. That is fun to me. That's really, and I've had several of those. So that's I love to see the kid's face when they see, and usually, they'll let out a holler or something like that. Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. There's always been lots of laughs too. You know that. This is 4 years now with you. We joke around some too. Yeah.
Who's your favorite physicist and why? Past or present, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've got to go with Feynman, Richard Feynman. He's a Nobel laureate. His work on particle physics, which I am not an expert on or don't know very much about at all. But after seeing some footage of him and reading the Feynman lectures, he just seemed like he was not only a really brilliant individual and physicist, but also had a really good delivery, and evidently was a pretty good joker too at the same time, so had a good sense of humor and knew how to keep things in perspective.
Yeah, I heard Feynman once spent a whole night just breaking spaghetti, uncooked spaghetti, trying to see why they was working for more than 3 pieces.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. He worked on the Manhattan Project. I read one story about him, is that after the Manhattan Project, I think a lot of the people that worked in that project came away with a little bit of, I don't know, misgivings about it, and so evidently went through somewhat of a period of depression. And to help bring him out of this depression, he just went and solved really difficult problems. That was one of the things that he did to help him feel better, which I can relate to, except not the level of problems that he was solving. Mine would be much simpler, yeah. But yeah, I think in terms of modern era, I'd say Richard Feynman. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like any course you had, who's been your favorite physics teacher? Like in high school, college?
Oh man. Well, I didn't take physics in high school. I took it in college when I was 30 when I went to school. Yeah, I had a lot of good teachers. There was one particular guy named Richard Murphy, and he was a theoretician, and he, for some reason, just really clicked for me. He was very straightforward and simple in his explanations. He had terrible handwriting, just like I do. He had a good sense of humor, and he just knew how to get to the kernel of the point. And I took several courses with him. I took computational physics with him. That's one of the reasons I still teach it with you guys in post-AP capstone, because it was so much fun then. He was just a remarkable guy. The computational physics course then, he would take the first month and teach us how to write Fortran, which is an old date computer language, but was used a lot by number crunchers. And he was such a good teacher, he could teach us how to write Fortran in about a month, and then we spent the rest of the year using it to do different numerical methods and so forth. So he was just a superb teacher, and again, he had a good sense of humor, and I took lots of courses with him. I took mechanics courses with him. I think I took statistical mechanics with him in graduate school. He was brilliant, and at the same time, he knew how to deliver his message well. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. I think he's retired now. He's still around. He's retired. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure.